Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Well, today I'm going to be taking a look at this little beginner's RC rock crawler from DJI. This is a DE69. It's four-wheel drive, and of course it's for beginners. It's rather inexpensive, but it has a couple of neat features that I thought were pretty cool, and that's why I was interested in reviewing this, because if you're just getting into the hobby, or if you want to buy a gift for a younger kid, this might be a good choice just because of some of the neat features that it has. Let me show you the box so I can explain exactly what I'm talking about. So let me set the car down. Now, as I mentioned, this is for beginners, so they mentioned ages 6 and up, but it's got 5 LED lighting modes. So underneath the shell of the body, there's different LED lights that you can change the patterns that it flashes between different flashing modes and like a breathing mode, which is pretty cool. Then there's some LED lights in the rear that are around the spray function, they call it, which is actually a water vapor exhaust. And we're seeing a lot of that lately, these cars coming out with these little exhaust features with mist. In fact, I had a DRC robotic dinosaur that actually breathes the water vapor like smoke with LEDs that make it look like it's fire. So I did that back on my channel a few months ago. And I also had a Ruko tank, a Ripsaw tank that has that exhaust in the back. I think it's really cool. So that's what I wanted to show you guys on the box. Let me grab the car again. So underneath the shell of the body, you'll have these lighting patterns, and we'll see that here when we get it fired up. But here is the little mechanism that sprays out the water vapor, which again looks like exhaust smoke. You got 2 LED lights surrounding it to help sort of light up or illuminate at least a little bit that water vapor. You can see it's pretty much a straight shaft here. It is four-wheel drive, but each one of these, I believe, is powered by a little brushed motor. There's no differential. It's just friction shocks. Don't expect much. It is a little quicker. I did a little testing with it in the basement yesterday. It's a little faster than I expected it to be, which isn't a bad thing. You know, you don't want a super slow car. Lots of kids want something that's sort of fast, but it is not proportional. The steering's all or nothing, the throttle's all or nothing, so you can't creep along slower. It's full speed or nothing, and the steering is full steer or nothing because it's just a little motor, as you can hear that. It just steers all the way. There's no proportional steering on this guy. Now, to add the water to this, they give you inside the little Ziploc bag that has the instruction manual along with a little Phillips screwdriver for any repairs. They give you a little water dropper, and you'll pull this plug and you'll put it in there. You can see I've got some water in there already, but I'll show you guys how to do that. I already put some water in my dropper, so let me just set the car down here. Let me go ahead and get the dropper out, and it holds quite a bit. Like, I think it held more than one dropper. I don't know how much I can get in it right now, but again, I already put, you just have to get some water like in a bowl or a cup and squeeze in and then suck the water back out of it, and then you can put it into here. So you're just going to put it, you just squeeze some water in here, and it holds quite a bit. See, I've been running it yesterday, and I you know, didn't use the water vapor all the time, and look, we already have a full dropper, and it still has room for more. Now, they advise you to not use the water vapor function if there's no water, because I guess it could cause that thing to burn out or something. So keep that in mind. You get a 1-cell lithium ion pack. This is a 3.7 volt, so 1 cell, 1200 milliamp hour. So it's a little hard pack, which our lithium ion packs always are. It uses one of these little 2-pin sort of, I don't know what they call these. It's similar to JST, but it's a little different. So it's a bit proprietary. So you have to use the included USB charger, where it has some lights to let you know whenever the lights, I think, go out or turn green. I forget what it is. Then the battery is fully charged for that. So it just goes down inside the bottom here. So you have to take off this little screw, which I'll do in a minute, and put the battery in. And here is the controller. The controller is not your standard pistol grip. It's more like your drone controller. You've got your forward, reverse, right, and left. Again, it just clicks because there's not any proportional steering. You're on and off here. And on the top here, this was, I believe this was LED light patterns. So you can just click that to cycle through them. And the bottom, I think, was to turn off the exhaust. I'm saying I think. It could be that I have them reversed, so I'm pretty sure that's what they were. I'll show you here in a moment once I get the battery in. So And it takes 2 AA batteries in the rear. So let me go ahead and get that battery in the car, and then let's come back here and I'll show you the lights here real quick and the exhaust before we actually get it on the ground. Because I want to drive it around my pool here in these rocks, because this will be a good place for it to go and do a little climbing around here, and it should be able to handle it. So let me go get the battery in, guys, and I'll be right back and we'll get it out there to drive around. Okay guys, I want to interject here real quick, because as you guys noticed in the video, you can't really see these LED lights outdoors, but you can see them indoors, and I kept seeing it over and over throughout the review. So you guys at least can see these lights now that I take it inside and show you that before we get back outside for the driver view. So you can see the flashing patterns. Let me set it down on my table here in my studio, and we'll show you not only the exhaust smoke, which you guys can see very easily in the video, but these different light patterns. So there's one of them. I pressed it again. Now it's solid. I think this might be the breathing mode. Let's see if that is or not. That may just be solid. Let's press it again. Now we got flashing. Press it again. It's a slower flashing. So he has at least 3 modes. This might be the breathing one. There's one, yeah, there's one I would say that breathes, and that's it. Maybe that was a 4th one. And now we're back to off. And now we're back to this one that alternates from the rear to the front. So there's one. I think that was the 2nd one we started with. And then there's the 3rd, the 4th, and the 5th is breathing. So, and then your 6th mode would be actually just turn the lights off if you want to save a little bit of battery power. And then again, the LED lights in the rear with that really cool looking water vapor exhaust, which feels really cool to your touch. In fact, this would feel great on a hot day. You pick the car up and let it blast on your forehead or something. It really feels good. All right, guys, that shows you guys the LED light modes that we couldn't see outside. Let's go ahead and get back outside now, outdoors, and finish up the driver view. So we'll be right back. Okay guys, I got the battery installed here. Before we actually turn on, I want to also mention, I forgot to mention, that the steering trim here is this little dial. That's all these non-proportional vehicles will use that. You just have to adjust it, put it down, and then if it still pulls, you adjust it some more until you get it as straight as you can. There's obviously no steering trim on the actual controller because, again, this is a non-proportional all or nothing steering. So let's go ahead and turn it on, and then you just turn the controller on, and it will auto bind. And then we should give it some throttle and make sure it goes, and it does. And let's see, we turn the, I think it's got some lights here, but it's going to be difficult to see here in the day. And then here at the bottom, in the button, you press it to start this water vapor, and look at it go there. Now that's going to be visible. And those red, blue, you can see it alternating. That's pretty cool. So at least the exhaust smoke is very visible. To get LEDs to be visible in the day, you got to really get the car out. You know, you have to do this whenever, you know, you have to have an LED system in this car that's really bright, powered off something much bigger than a 1S lithium ion. So enough jibber jabber. Let's get down the ground and see how this guy works. There you go. We turn the exhaust back on. I don't know if I bumped it or if it just went off after. It might be that if you sit there with it on and you don't give it throttle, that it will turn itself off. So it was quicker than I thought. You guys can see there, but it is going to lack some power being just one lithium ion cell. So you can see even that little bit of grass, it struggled a bit. But that exhaust smoke is really neat. It did look like it turned off, so let's see if we have to continue to turn on. It may be that they do something like that to either save the mechanism, because I'm not exactly sure how that works. I don't know if it's a little heating element or if it's just simply a fan in there that's able to spray water mist. But it does seem like it does turn off occasionally. But that's really neat. I mean, what kid's not going to like that? Let's see if we can actually get enough momentum to make it up through here. I think this weeds here might be too thick. Oh, no, it made it. That's what you want to see. I mean, this is a mini rock crawler. Just as I said, it's not going to be really powerful. This is a toy. So yeah, it goes off back there. So as you play with this, you'll need to at times turn it back on if you want to turn that back on. As you can see, it's kind of getting bound up here on this really big weed. And that's not totally unexpected. Again, this is not a high-powered rock crawler by any means. I'll show you guys it on the pavement, because on the on the concrete, it gets up decently well, and it really was fun driving this around in my basement. My daughter would chase me around, the vehicle around. She likes to have me chase her with this stuff, and she likes to run from it. But outdoors with this, you're going to need to have limited obstacles, because again, it's just 1S powered. That's going to be too big of a block for it to go up over. Now, if you have a 1S LiPo battery that has that kind of connector, and those are fairly common, you're going to be able to use that, and that might give you just a tiny bit more oomph, I guess you could say, because the lithium ion does a lot of times lack a little bit of the punch that a LiPo has. So you could put a 1S LiPo in there. Could you try a 2S? I mean, it's possible. I've seen some of these toys that will run off a higher voltage, but keep in mind that if you would do that, there's a decent chance you could just fry everything in the electronics. But see, now we can see that's moving along decently. I don't want to drive this in the pool and then ruin it, because if it falls in, it's probably going to short everything out. And with it having non-proportional steering, you can't make small adjustments. So as we can see, that's moving along, a little quicker than I thought it would, but you can't get that kind of speed as you're going through the thick grass. Let's take it over here and go through some of the rocks here. And this is really perfect for this. So again, if you've got a younger kid, this is not probably a bad choice, as long as he's realistic, or she's realistic about its ability. That's unfortunate those LED lights are just not visible during the day. I really thought that they would have been a little bit more visible, but again, it's not unexpected being this 1S powered. The LED lights usually don't shine real bright in the daytime, and it's cloudy out. If it was sunny out, you wouldn't even probably be able to see those little ones. See the bulbs themselves underneath the car. Yeah, I mean, it moves along okay. I just, like I said, I wish those lights would light up brighter, but again, it's not that unexpected. But these rear ones really are because they're not being obstructed by the shell of the car, that looks really cool. But I would say this is more of an indoor car. If you have a son that wants to get to RC and you don't want to break the bank, this would be cool to pour out a bag of Legos, and you could drive over the Legos and indoors, and you're going to see that exhaust smoke, and you're going to be able to see those LEDs much better indoors. You can see that it timed itself up. When was that? Maybe 15-20 seconds, and then it turns itself off. Let's put it down here and we'll drive it for another minute or so, and then we'll probably end this review, because there's only so much you can do with one of these. But I just wanted to show that the car, we'll get an opinion on it. I mean, it's not like the greatest. That's by no means is it, amazing. But you really don't ever see anything at this price point, this design, non-proportional. Non-proportional stuff is never going to be really good, but that's why it's less expensive. Let's turn on that exhaust, and you can see that that's very visible in the day, and thank goodness it is, because that to me is the most interesting aspect of this car's exhaust. LED lights are not that big a deal to me, but they are pretty cool when they're indoors. But yeah, those rear LEDs are very visible. Boy, the internal ones under the shell, again, it's just something you're going to have inside to see. But yeah, I can make it up over small bits of, a lip of the concrete here, and these rocks are no problem. But that grass there would be, there's no chance. It just doesn't have the power on the little brush motors to be able to handle anything like that. If it's smooth dirt, there'd be no problem. Small rocks like this, a gravel driveway, no problem. Even if in the wintertime, a dusting of snow, this would have no problem, but driving this through anything that's very thick is going to be a lost cause. All right, guys, I think that wraps it up. I mean, there's no reason to keep driving this around. You guys can see what this is doing. It'd get pretty boring anymore. In fact, most of you guys, I doubt hardly anybody's watching the video anymore because there's not much else you can see. But yeah, I mean, I just wish that those lights here, you guys might be able to see them. It's just, and it really have to be indoors in a dark environment to really see those. But that's sort of why they did it. It's more of an indoor nighttime LED feature. All right, guys, that wraps up the review of the DJI D69. Well, I know it wasn't the greatest video, but it is what it is. If you're new to the channel, please consider, if I can spit it out, consider subscribing. I do a lot of more other stuff, from drones to cars to higher end stuff. But lots of times I do review these toys because I want you guys, you know, to see what they can do if you're a beginner in the hobby. So please consider subscribing. If you're new to the channel, while you're at it, click the bell. That way you're notified every time I do upload a new video. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.
The power of the dark side.